All right, let's pull back the curtain on the mobile network. If you're a developer, this is a world just packed with hidden challenges. A place where every single line of code you write has this unseen impact on your app's performance and, more importantly, your user's battery life. We've all been there, right? You've got full bars, a perfect 4G signal, but your app is just crawling, taking forever to load. It's super frustrating, and honestly, it's a really common experience. And it points to this fundamental misunderstanding of how mobile networks actually work. Because let me tell you, they are nothing like the wired networks we're all used to.
And this really lays out the core conflict. On one side, you've got your wired networks. They're stable, they're predictable, they're always on, and they're plugged into a wall with basically unlimited power. But then you have mobile networks. They are totally unpredictable. The latency is all over the place, and they're always fighting against the limits of a finite battery. This difference, this is the key to understanding everything else we're about to cover.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by framing the core challenge. Then we'll dive into 3 invisible forces that mess with every single byte of data you send. First, waking up the radio. Second, this hidden battery drain that happens in the background. And third, the surprisingly long journey your data packets have to take. And then we'll wrap it all up by talking about how to build smarter apps that actually work with the network instead of fighting against it.
Right, so here's the thing you've got to understand. Mobile networking isn't just a slower version of your home internet. It's a completely different beast. It's governed by this complex dance of trade-offs, all managed by these unseen systems that are designed to solve one single problem. How do you deliver data without absolutely killing someone's battery in an hour?
So, our first challenge starts with the very first packet your app even tries to send. See, to save power, the network is constantly telling your phone's radio to go to sleep, but waking it up isn't instant. And that delay, that little pause, is often the single biggest source of latency you'll experience on a mobile device. The system that handles all this is called the Radio Resource Controller, or RRC. But honestly, the best way to think about it is like a sleepy security guard. To get any data through the gate, you first have to run over, wake him up, show him all your credentials, and that whole negotiation takes time. Only then can your data finally pass through. And of course, if nobody comes by for a while, he just dozes off again to save energy. Okay, so this is the official state machine for the RRC. Your phone starts way down at the bottom in this low-power, idle state, barely sipping any battery. But to send data, it has to jump all the way up to that high-powered, connected state. That whole transition, that jump, that's the wake-up negotiation we were just talking about. And it is far from instant. And this is where it gets kind of crazy. Look at how much that wake-up latency can vary. On an older 3G network, it can take up to 2 full seconds just to establish a connection. That's before a single byte of your app's data has even been sent. Now, 4G LTE is much better, at under 100 milliseconds, but that's still a noticeable delay. This is exactly why that first tap in any app always feels like the slowest. So, from a senior engineer's point of view, we call this the wake-up tax. And you know who the worst offenders are? Chatty apps. The ones that are constantly sending little analytics pings or status updates every few minutes. They're forcing the user to pay this latency tax over and over again, and it just creates this terrible, laggy experience. The real professional solution here is to design your systems to batch data. Bundle everything up, all your analytics, your updates, into a single, larger transfer, so you only have to pay that tax once. Okay, so we paid our latency tax. We sent our data. We're done, right? Ha! Not even close. Now we have to face our second big challenge. This phenomenon that silently drains your battery long after your transfer is supposedly complete. It's called the energy tail, and the best way to think of it is like an idling car engine. When you get to where you're going, you don't shut the engine off immediately, right? You might let it idle for a bit, just in case you need to move again right away. Well, the network does the exact same thing with your phone's radio. It keeps it fired up in a high-power state for a while after transfer finishes, just wasting battery for absolutely zero benefit to you. This diagram shows the problem perfectly. That tall green bar, that's your actual data transfer. It's short, it's quick, but look at what follows, this long red energy tail. Because of how the network timers are set up, a 1-second download can keep the radio in a high-powered state for 10, 20, sometimes even 30 seconds before it finally gets to go back to sleep. You're burning through your battery for way longer than the transfer itself. And the real-world impact of this is just staggering. Check this out. A study on the Pandora app found that these tiny little analytics beacons they were sending out, they accounted for less than 1% of the app's total data. But, and this is the kicker,
Because each tiny beacon triggered its own massive energy tail, they were responsible for 46% of the app's total battery consumption. Almost half the battery wasted on nothing. And this quote really drives it home for anyone building software. An inefficient background process can literally cut a phone's battery life in half. This right here is the root cause of all those one-star reviews that just say, "This app kills my battery." So as engineers, we have to design around this. We have to group our background tasks and use system APIs that are smart about when they decide to wake up that radio. All right, for our final challenge, let's look at the physical path your data actually takes. You might think it goes from your phone to the nearest tower and then straight out to the internet. The reality, though, is way more complex. It involves a really long journey through the carrier's own private network.
The best analogy for this is a diplomatic pouch. When your data hits the cell tower, it gets sealed up. The tower can't just route it directly to the internet. Instead, it has to send this sealed pouch through the carrier's own private postal system all the way to a central hub, a packet gateway, which might be in a totally different city. Only when it gets there is the pouch finally opened and sent out to the public internet.
Now, let's look at the actual architecture. Your data goes from the tower on the left through something called a serving gateway, or SGW, and then everything, I mean everything, gets funneled to one central point, the packet gateway, or PGW. That PGW is the single choke point. It's the only way in or out of the carrier's network to the public internet.
So to break it down, your packet's journey is basically a 4-step detour. Phone to tower. Then the tower tunnels the data to the SGW. The SGW forwards it on to that centralized PGW. And only then, after all that internal routing, does the PGW finally send your data out onto the web. Now, this whole setup is actually what allows you to keep the same IP address and maintain your connection as you, say, drive down the highway. A senior engineer would call this the trombone effect. Think about it. If you're in San Francisco, but your carrier's PGW is in Los Angeles, your data has to travel 400 miles south just to turn around and come 400 miles back north to reach a local server. This backhaul latency, the delay that happens inside the carrier's own network, is a huge invisible bottleneck. And it explains why things like content delivery networks, or CDNs, are often less effective on mobile, because the biggest delay is happening before your data even hits the public internet that a CDN can optimize. So, after navigating all 3 of those challenges, what does it all mean for us as developers? Well, it means we have to stop designing for this idealized, perfect, wired world and start building for the actual reality of mobile networks.
So here are the key takeaways. First, you have to eliminate chattiness. Bundle your requests to pay that RRC tax only once. Second, respect the energy tail. Group your background tasks together. Third, acknowledge that backhaul latency is real and it's often your biggest bottleneck. And finally, you have to design for variability. Your app has to work well on a fast 4G network and on a slow, congested 3G network. And that really brings us to our final thought. The mobile network isn't just a slow internet pipe. It's a really complex system with its own set of rules. And understanding these rules, the sleepy radio, the energy tail, and that great data detour, that's the difference between an app that feels magical and one that gets a 1-star review for being slow and killing the battery. So the question you have to ask is, which one are you building?